Vienna is a city known for its rich cultural history, classical music, and stunning architecture. It's the birthplace of Mozart, home to grand palaces like Schönbrunn, and famous for its vibrant coffeehouse culture. But what if I told you that behind this charming and elegant facade lies a hidden world? A world filled with secrets, spies, and intrigue. Yes, Vienna is not just about waltzes and schnitzel. A spy capital born from Cold War shadows. Let's take a trip back to the end of World War II. The world had just witnessed unimaginable destruction, and nations were carving up the globe into spheres of influence. Austria, and specifically Vienna, found itself in a unique position. The country was divided into zones controlled by the Allied powers: the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and the Soviet Union. Vienna, the capital, was split right down the middle, with each power taking a slice. You could say the city was like a cake and everyone wanted a piece. Now imagine you're living in Vienna during this time. Your city is filled with soldiers from different countries, each with their own agenda. But behind the scenes, something more secretive is happening. Spies from all sides are converging on Vienna, turning the city into a battleground for intelligence. There were people in the shadows, swapping secrets, gathering information, and plotting against each other. It was the Cold War, and Vienna was right at the center of it all. The thing is, Vienna's position made it the perfect place for spies. It was literally a meeting point between East and West, where you could rub shoulders with people from both sides of the Iron Curtain. And because Austria declared itself neutral in 1955, it became even more attractive to spies. The city was safe enough to operate in, but close enough to the action in Eastern Europe. Spies here were trying to influence the outcome of the Cold War. They were involved in everything from setting up sleeper cells to plotting defections. One of the most intriguing figures to pass through Vienna was Kim Philby, a British intelligence officer who was secretly working for the Soviet Union's KGB. In the late 1930s, before Philby became a well-known double agent, he was already involved in covert activities in Vienna. At that time, the city was a hotbed of political unrest, with growing tensions between the fascist government and the communists. Philby had strong communist sympathies, found himself deeply involved in helping the revolutionaries. He used Vienna as a base and worked with local contacts to arrange safe passage for those fleeing the fascist government. Vienna was also often the last stop for those looking to escape the grip of the Soviet Union. High-ranking officials, scientists, and even ordinary citizens would cross into the city, hoping to find freedom in the West, but it wasn't always easy. The city streets were filled with agents from both sides, and one wrong move could mean getting caught and sent back, or worse. The Russian connection. Let's fast forward to the present. The Cold War is over, but Vienna hasn't lost its appeal to spies, especially those from Russia. But why, you might wonder, is Vienna so special to Russian spies? First, Russia has always had a special relationship with Austria. Back in the day, Austria was the first Western country to establish strong economic ties with the Soviet Union. This relationship carried on even after the fall of the Soviet Union, with Russia becoming one of Austria's biggest trading partners. These ties laid the groundwork for something more covert. Vienna became a safe haven for Russian intelligence operations. So, you might be wondering, if everyone knows that Vienna is full of spies, why doesn't Austria just kick them out? Well, the answer isn't that simple. Austria's long-standing policy of neutrality means it tries to stay out of the conflicts between other countries. And here's where it gets even trickier. The same neutrality also makes Austria hesitant to take strong actions against foreign spies, particularly when these spies are from major partners like Russia. So if Russian spies are gathering information on other countries while in Vienna, the Austrian government might turn a blind eye as long as Austria itself isn't the target. This approach has led to some criticism, particularly from Austria's European neighbors, who see it as a weak link in the broader effort to counter Russian espionage in Europe. When many European countries expelled Russian diplomats suspected of being spies after the Skripal poisoning in the UK, Austria only expelled a few. The Austrian government argued that maintaining open channels with Russia was more important. The result? not what Austria had initially anticipated. Russian agents in Vienna are now involved in influencing local politics, business, and even media. In 2019, Austria's government fell apart because of a scandal involving a video of the vice-chancellor offering political favors to a woman he believed was the niece of a Russian oligarch. This exposed how Russian influence had seeped into the highest levels of Austrian politics. The fallout was huge, but it didn't stop Russian spies from continuing their work in Vienna. In fact, they only ramped up their activities, especially after the conflict in Ukraine reignited tensions between Russia and the West. But it's not just the Russians. The city's relaxed espionage laws have made it an attractive destination for spies from China, Iran, and the United States, and many others. This means that intelligence agencies like the CIA, China's Ministry of State Security, MSS, and Iran's Ministry of Intelligence, MOIS, can all operate in the same space, sometimes literally within a few blocks of each other. While these agencies are usually at odds with one another, there are moments when their interests align. For example, the CIA and MI6 might share information when they're both concerned about Iran's nuclear activities. But for the most part, these agencies are playing a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. The CIA might be trying to track Iranian operatives, while China's MSS could be working to steal European technology secrets. The diplomatic stage. What not many people know, though, is the fact that Vienna is not just a city of spies. The United Nations has one of its 4 major offices in Vienna, and the city is also home to International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, OPEC, and other institutions. These organizations draw diplomats and officials from all over the world, creating a perfect environment for intelligence gathering. Diplomatic immunity often provides cover for spies, allowing them to operate with less risk of being caught. However, in Vienna, it's not uncommon for diplomats to double as intelligence officers. Currently, there are over 500 Russian state employees stationed in Vienna, with more than half of them officially recognized as diplomats. However, according to Austrian intelligence estimates, up to half of these diplomats are actually spies. This means there are approximately 100 operatives, if not more, in Vienna who are posing as diplomats while engaging in espionage activities. These spies are involved in a range of covert operations, including monitoring and influencing Western arms supplies to Ukraine, industrial espionage, and various other intelligence gathering activities that serve Russia's interests across Europe. A notable incident that highlights Vienna's ongoing role in the world of espionage is the spy swap between the United States and Russia. Here's what happened. In June 2010, the United States arrested 10 Russian spies who were part of a sleeper cell network known as the Illegals Program. These agents had been living in the US under false identities, some for decades, integrating into American society while secretly working for the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR. Russia, on the other hand, had been holding 4 individuals who were accused of spying for the West. Among them are Sergei Skripal, a former Russian military officer who had been convicted of passing secrets to the British intelligence agency MI6. Skripal's case was particularly sensitive because he had been sentenced to a long prison term in Russia, and his release was seen as a political bargaining chip for the Kremlin. The negotiations for the spy swap were conducted quickly and discreetly. On July 9, 2010, the exchange took place at Vienna's airport in a highly choreographed operation. The 10 Russian spies who had been deported from the United States were flown to Vienna on a chartered flight. At the same time, the 4 individuals held by Russia were also brought to Vienna. Austria's neutral stance has also helped Vienna host numerous peace talks, negotiations, and even covert meetings between rival states. For example, during the Cold War, Vienna was a key location for negotiations between the United States and the Soviet Union. Even in recent years, the city has continued to be a center for international diplomacy. For instance, the negotiations over Iran's nuclear program took place in Vienna, with representatives from the United States, Iran, and other major powers gathering to discuss the future of Iran's nuclear activities. Now, whether you're a tourist enjoying a slice of Sachertorte or a spy exchanging secrets in a dimly lit cafe, Vienna offers something for everyone. But remember, in the city of spies, nothing is ever quite as it seems. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and sharing so we can keep bringing more content like this. See you next time.